Hello and welcome back to AOR Season 16, Round 7, and it takes us to Canada, which I've got to say isn't one of my favourite tracks, especially on this new game with the new sort of traction model. I mean, it's quite a hard track. It still is classified as one of the street tracks, and of course track limits are quite vicious around here. There's lots of places where, of course, especially in the pad, it's very hard to sort of turn in the right spot, so it's very precise, this track. So a bit like Monaco, I wasn't expecting too much out of it. You can see now just going for qualifying, we're actually a bit up on our first lap, which is a 109.6, so it's quite a good lap there, considering in the leading up to this, we didn't really have too much pace. I was pretty much even slower than a few of my friends as we tagged the wall, and we actually basically lose the 3/10 advantage. We actually lose 5/10 there, unfortunately. But yeah, we're still within 2/10, so yeah, I was a bit frustrated because I thought I could go a bit faster. Of course, qualifying on the Hypersofts, because I didn't think I was going to qualify in the top 10, so I thought there's no point really starting on the Ultras, and you can see again, yeah, we're 3/10 down already. So yeah, it's a shame. I could have been 5/10 up on this point, and of course up on my delta. But I'm really going to attack these corners, and that's a beautiful chicane, one of the best chicanes of the weekend for me. And I gained 4/10. So yeah, I could have easily done a sub 109, which would have put me actually P9. So actually, I do have some sort of pace. It would have put me alongside sort of Koreko, who's actually struggling for this race. So yeah, I am a few tenths off everyone else. You can see, I think as well, Jaeger got a quali ban, so he's going to be starting at the back. But yeah, Edge once again in the lead with Gimp, another really good qualifying. But of course, he's only got 2 points the whole season, hasn't been able to turn any of them into a good win, a good race result. So let's hope his fortunes can change. But meanwhile, we're going to do the one stop, quite simple, from the Ultra Soft to the Super Softs. It was debatable because the race strategy sort of recommends the two stop onto the from of course Hyper Softs onto the double Ultra Softs. And I'm sure most of the leaders will be doing that because that is actually a really good strategy as well. But yeah, but like realistically, I think the one stop's probably the most viable for me, considering I'm not the fastest. But here we are now, 5 red lights and a long way once again. Away we go. It's a shocking start considering on the Ultra Softs. So many tyres now. I'm literally getting lost which one's which. But we're going to get overtaken by, I think, our teammate who's also had a bad qualifying into turn 1. As you can see, that's Gorgikwi, who's all over the place. And look, he's sliding everywhere. I don't even know what was going on. I don't know if I tagged him or what, but he's sliding everywhere off the start, and as a result, we actually lose 3 positions. So I was a bit annoyed about that because, of course, he was sliding into turn 1 without touching anyone, and then managed to slide through there as well. So I don't know if it's a setup or anything, but as a result, we actually lost the position to Jaeger, and they're nearly right at the back now. But of course, we didn't get any damage, which is the main thing. But of course, I want to get past this Gorkiku guy as quickly as possible, because if he's sliding around like that, or if he looks unstable, then of course I don't really want to be stuck behind him. As we're going to try to pressure Jaeger, of course, not really putting him under too much pressure. I mean, although he is on the harder tyres, he is ultimately faster than us, and he is our good friend in league racing. So of course, you don't really want to hinder him at all. I mean, I'll leave that to sort of THL when I'm actually fighting him. Well, I was fighting him for a championship, of course, after a few bad results. I'm not really doing that anymore. But you can see we're actually going to try to get Gorkikui. Of course, he actually yields in the end, which is probably sensible, because going side by side through here is not wise, as these guys are probably about to find out. It's going to brake late. We're going to brake very late, in fact, and hit the back of Heiko. So, I don't know. I braked with 100 brake pressure. I don't know. I braked on the normal braking spot, but going into the back of Heiko, just braking a bit too late there, and as a result actually getting a bit of front wing damage, which is going to hinder me for the rest of the stint. You can see these guys have already gone off into the distance, and we're sort of losing time already, so not a good start in that regard. It would have really helped if I kept out of trouble, but you can see, unfortunately, there's actually 3 cars, I think Ken Worthington and Diego, all in a tangled with each other. So I think that was a car parked on track or something. They tried to avoid them, and as a result, we're going to pick up an illegal overtake if we don't give this position back. So you overtake under the yellow flag, so we're just going to give it back. There's no point losing 5 seconds to nothing. We're still gaining a few positions out of that, and we're nearly going to be back into the points already, because Cans is going to peel off into the pits after sustaining damage after that incident. And yeah, we're nearly back into the point, but of course he got front wing damage after coming together with Heiko, and I was really pissed off about that, because I thought I could honestly race these guys, because I was right behind them, of course, and I could have got a really good run, but just braking really late. I thought I broke at the right time, but obviously not, as these two also come into tangle. I think that's Heiko and maybe even Koreko, even, so it might be Coyote as well, but it was one of the two Force Indias, as we get another track limit extension. And yeah, I mean, as I was saying, corner cutting really a big deal around this track, especially in strict corner cutting. It's just so pedantic on this game. I mean, I wasn't gaining any time. It's almost impossible to, like, uncommit to a corner, if that's even a word. But yeah, once again, I was racking up penalties this early on as we got JCP now all over us. We're going to go deep, and that's going to allow the floodgates to open. JCP is going to be up our inside. He's already pit, so this guy's doing a hell of a job. Heiko, on the other hand, is having a sort of weaker race. Of course, involved in a few incidents, and of course, we tagged the back of him as well. He's also going to try to get us probably into this braking zone here. I mean, I don't know why people were going for the move here. I mean, if I was them, I would have literally backed off until this straight and then overtaken into turn 1. It's a much more sensible overtaking spot, in my opinion. It literally just compromises everyone's entry into the chicane. It just means it's impossible not to corner cut, as Gimp gets us as well. We're going to try to follow him through. That's actually a really nice chicane there. Not doing many of those in the weekend, I can assure you. I think that's the place I picked up my most penalty points of the race. But yeah, you can see we're into the top 10. So that's not going to be so long. As you can see, we've got a few fast people behind us. One being Reborn Destroyer, of course. He had 1 point going to Spain, but then he had actually going out of Spain. But then he got that P2 in Monaco, and he's keeping that momentum up. Right now, he is on for a podium as well. So if he can get a double podium, that would be a hell of a job from him, considering he had 1 point going into Monaco. So Reborn, a bit like Heiko, proving himself to be a bit of an underdog. Of course, I can't really say that about Heiko now, because he's about to take P2 in the championship, even with a bad result, as Ken Worthington sends one up the inside, and I was a bit pissed off about that, to be honest. I mean, people were doing that all day, and I mean, they were alongside me when they're making that move, so I mean, I was a bit alright with it, but that was just taking the piss. I mean, I know I don't exactly put up a fight under braking, but if I turned in on him, it would have been a crash, and it would have been his fault. To dive bomb from about 3-4 car lengths back, I mean, it's a good move, but to be honest, it's just really taking the advantage of the fact I'm not aggressive enough, and that's a bit, yeah, I mean, he could have definitely waited, so I don't know why he's sending it under brakes there. As you can see, Gimp's in the wall again, and unfortunately, he won't score points again. And this guy, I don't know what it is, he scored 2 points for the whole season, yet has got more poles than anyone this season. It's absolutely crazy, but hopefully this guy can reverse his fortunes, because he's getting a bit comedic at this stage, because he's such a good driver, but of course, he just hasn't got any points. As we go into the pits now, we're going to come out in what will be P14, as 2 more people are going to overtake us. And yeah, we got these tyres to the end, but once again, my pace really lacking. Of course, I'm actually recording this quite late now, so I can assure you, going into France, I should have a bit better pace. Of course, I've done a few practice laps. I've actually managed to do 29.7, which is pretty decent in my opinion. Still well off the likes of Edge, who's pretty much in a league of his own at this point. I mean, Stroll just hasn't been as good as I thought this season. And yeah, as you can see, we're going to go on the grass, which is actually really unfortunate, because Rogue Samurai is going to jump us as a result. Of course, just, I don't know, I mean, on the pad as well, I mean, it's really hard to make small minor adjustments, because of course, you can either really go full lock or minor lock. So, of course, if you go full lock, it can really veer you to the side, but you can see all over the back of Rogue Samurai already. Even so, he's on fresher tyres. So we head on to lap 17, we're going to try to make the move stick. Of course, his tyres are still warming up, so we are going to have to try to take advantage of that. Until, of course, that when our tyres actually wear out, we will be ahead of him, and we won't have to worry about him. But, of course, he's actually managed to pull a tiny bit of a gap. But, of course, we're not trying to overtake Holvey now. We're going to try to follow him through, but we're not actually going to get him initially. And you can see there's yellow flags as well, as we're going to, I don't think actually we gained a position from it. But, yeah, so actually not really helping us. But we're going to try to go round the outside, breaking onto the grass. We're going to stick our nose there. And now we're there. We may as well commit to the move as we go side by side. Horvey leaving tons of space. So brilliant stuff there as we go for an overly ambitious route. So, yeah, I slagged off Ken Worthington a bit for a dive bomb. But it was sort of a bit of a dive bomb around the outside. But we made it stick. Good respect there from Horvey. And now, although we actually lost a second, we were able to get onto the back of Rogue Samurai. Didn't help, actually, that we actually corner cut. Again, just sort of, that first curb can throw you off a bit, so I just tried to sort of make sure I didn't go into the wall, and as a result, getting a straight 3-second tyre penalty. And yeah, I was racking up the penalties at this stage, and it was really a shame, because I was battling for the points, and yet again, his penalties were going to decide my position, and that's why I don't like the last few games. I mean, yes, I should be punished for his penalties. I'm not good at driving within the track limits, I accept that, but the amount of penalties you can get with strict, that's why I just think regular is just better. Because, I mean, you get so many penalties to strict, there's no point racing. Because what's the point right now in me overtaking this guy when effectively I can't get any higher than P11, P12. As unfortunately, I think that's Cans who's going to be out the race, and we're going to gain a position on him. As, yeah, you can see he's left the race. I actually brought out a VSC. But, yeah, right now, I just didn't want Rogue Samurai to know I had penalties. Of course, Jeff could be telling him right now, but I was just trying to get the position off him right now. I'm here to race, not really to win the championship, unlike Season 14, so I just want to get as many points as possible as we get another 3-second time penalty. literally I'm racking them up at this stage. You get another warning, another warning, 2 warnings within 2 corners, and yeah, I mean, I was all over the place with the dirty air. Of course, I mean, I was relatively clean, but until I got behind this guy. But then I'm just trying to make moves stick. I'm not gaining on him. If anything, I'm losing time. But now I'm getting punished by the game for sort of not overtaking him, which is annoying to say the least, because yeah, so bad on this game. It's almost impossible to properly clip apexes. And of course, you got the legends up front like Edge. You can pretty much robot-like seriously clip the apex every lap. But I mean, I'm not like that. I can't commit on the pads. But yeah, up against a fellow pad runner right now, in the likes of Rogue Samurai, who's actually much cleaner than me. So it can be done. It's just I'm not good. I mean, I've admitted that lots of times. I'm not good at track limits, but trying to put one over on my fellow pad runner. Even so, I can't probably beat him in terms of penalties. And we actually get him into my favourite overtaking spot, which is the bunny hop chickens. Of course, I slagged off quite a few people for overtaking me there, but I think I was properly alongside him, so I think it was necessary to make the move there. Of course, I couldn't get him into turn 1. I think he had a really low downforce setup, so I think that was the only place I could really get him. And again, we're going to get another penalty. I think that was our only other penalty once we overtook him. You could see we actually did a few green sectors. We were actually going really fast as soon as we got past him, but then, of course, after lap 32, the onset of tyre wear was very bad. Of course, I think he had 2 lap fresher tyres than us, because we pit lap 14, a lap earlier than our pit window, sort of to get rid of the front wing. And we got him all over the back of us, and it was a really good battle. I was stuck behind him for a long time. Unfortunately, there was only the one move even, so we are going to be put under pressure by him going into the last lap, but you can see he actually backs out in the end. And that should be it's one and done as long as we can keep him on the final back straight. But yeah, only the one move in the end, but that one move at this stage being decisive, as once again he is right behind us. But of course we should be able to hold him off down the last straight, and you can see as well he's actually 6 tenths behind us, so he is within range, but he actually gets really bad exit. So that's us securing P10 on track. Of course, it will be P11, because I think Rogue Samurai's got 9 seconds of penalties, and I've got a shocking 21 seconds of penalties. So, not a good race in terms of track limits. But yeah, nonetheless, we will finish P10 on track, but it will be another P11 in the race. Of course, P11 at Spain, P11 at Monaco, if we classify us as finishing after DNFing, and P11 here. So, yeah, a few unlucky results, really. I really want to get points again, because I am trying to fight for P7 in the championship, even so that number is constantly decreasing. We slipped to, I think, about P10 or no. So, but you can see Edge once again winning from Skierda. Of course, the guy who is in gold, the only guy who's in gold. Reborn once again, a brilliant result. And this guy has really been improving. He's been putting hard work in. Of course, I'm be able to dedicate as much time as maybe he has, but he's done a brilliant job, so kudos to him for getting a podium. He really deserves it. And of course, our teammate once again actually getting top 5, so doing quite well considering he started behind us. And as you go on to the driver standings, Edge has a commanding lead over Heiko in second, who overtakes Kureka, who's actually hanging on to P3, but of course P3, but he didn't actually get a good result today. He didn't get any points, and that's allowed JCP to close in. Karnak as well, re-overtaking Schwalb, I think, who doesn't get any points. As we look into the constructors, Edge basically dominating once in there as well. They overtake Ferrari. Toro Rosso just behind Ferrari. So Heiko as well doing really well for them, and us in P4. So that's going to be it for this episode. See you next time in